Valtteri, fancy seeing you here in Hungary, mate. I tell you what, assuming that you qualify ahead of me, I hope you get a good start, mate. Get a good start. I don't want to take any prisoners into turn one, though. No, sirree, you'll lose a lot of positions if you do that. But nice watch, by the way. Nice watch. Yeah, no, you're welcome. Just lay on the brakes, take no prisoners, and clear me a path. That's what I reckon you should do, mate. Oh, there's Stroll. Lance! Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain, and welcome to episode 9 here at Aussie Villain Racing. It is the Hungarian Grand Prix today, and, well, we've almost caught up to real life, haven't we? And hopefully, we're going to have ourselves a good race. But a little bit to catch you up on back at the factory before we get things underway. You can see we've got the powertrain department highlighted here. The reason for that is you can see we're spec 1 on building time. So we're starting to upgrade. We've upgraded the aerodynamics department. The chassis department was, of course, already upgraded. So it's the powertrain department's turn, and there we go, the build time. So all of our upgrades will be 10% quicker, I think it is. Oh no, they're reduced by 20%. The next one will be reduced by 40%. So that is again just moving the team forward, which is excellent. We're going to have a look at R&D. We have had, if we go back to here, you can see on the development chart there, potentially we are getting up towards AlphaTauri, if not slightly ahead of them. We did have a minor setback though, but if we go and have a look at aerodynamics, you can see that well, actually nothing too much here has changed. We're sort of backlogged. We're at the maximum that we have until we can have 2 upgrades going at once. So we have those 2 going, and they'll be ready for the next Grand Prix. The chassis department, we did have a minor setback here, and that was this. Where was it here? It was this one, the energy store. It failed, so instead of being ready for this Grand Prix, it will be ready after the summer break for Belgium, so that's a little bit of a setback. But if you see there, it's only a minor upgrade, so it's not the end of the world, but obviously it would have been nice to have. But we'll get that done for the next one. And we are currently doing the heave dampers as well. That is something that is in the process of happening, so there we go. And if we go and have a look at the powertrain, we're also doing the spark plugs. It's a minor upgrade. But again, that will be ready for the next Grand Prix. There's nothing else there. And we do also have, you can see there, the improved gearbox materials. Now, this failed, but then we were able to redo it. So it cost us a little bit of R&D points, but it happened quickly enough that it didn't actually set back that it was going to be ready for this race. So that is good. And we can see there, we have a few other upgrades now we can get, which we'll probably / possibly get before the end of the season, but the durability isn't too bad, so I'm not particularly worried about that. If we go and have a look at R&D progress, we can see the other things that we've got in development now. We have got in development what I said there, the spark plugs at the bottom, which will be, all these will be ready for the next race in Belgium. There's a little bit of the summer break coming up, so that is done. The other thing that we got is, as I said, the heave dampers, which again will be ready for the next Grand Prix. And again, we can see, we're just going to have a look at the progress history. And we're sort of angling away from, we're sort of the top right now of those maroony kind of coloured lines. We're angling up towards AlphaTauri and Alpine, but you can see the top 4 are all sort of moving away from, also top 5 are all sort of moving away from us. If we go and have a look at the vehicle itself, everything is fairly good to go in terms of power units and gearboxes, so that is all absolutely fine. The corporate side of things, we have a new sponsor. We'll welcome Salve on board. Now you'll see our weekly goal there is to beat our rival during a race, which is good. So that basically means now we've got to out-qualify them as well as out-race them, which hopefully won't be a problem. Driver contracts, I think we're coming down. This will probably be Markelov's last race because it expires his contract the 6th of September. He's got just over a month to go. And like I said, and you guys tended to agree with me, there's no point paying more money for Markelov. He wants $1 million when we can go and get Robert Schwartzman here, and we'll get him for 800. We'll get him for less, and he's a better driver. So I think that's what we'll do there. Finances is absolutely fine. We did, as I said, spend the 1.2, was it, on the upgrades to the factory. So that is fine, but it's fluctuating up and down a little bit. We are getting reasonable money, I'd say, now for through sponsorship week in, week out. And if you go and have a look at the standings, as a reminder, we are sitting there in 12th. A reminder too, we have upped the difficulty since the 7th in Austria, so that is making it a little bit more difficult for us. We were, of course, 17th last time out in the British Grand Prix after, I'm assuming, getting some floor damage or something. It was really, we're having a really good battle with Sonoda, weren't we? Now, rivals, we did win the rivalry. with Nicholas Latifi. That was something we did manage to do at the last race. Hopefully, we're going to manage to get a new rival, or else it's going to be difficult to out-qualify nobody, isn't it? And, well, in theory, we should be able to qualify somebody, but you know what I mean. We can't beat a rival if we don't have one, so I'm hoping when we get into the race weekend, that will that'll fix itself. But off we go to Hungary. Let's go. And if we check our messages coming into the race weekend, we can see the track there. It was, if you're watching it, the Formula 1 in real life, obviously, it was just the last weekend's race. Again, we can see there the parts, the rear diffuser is on the car now, which is good. The other two failed, but of course the gearbox did actually end up getting done as well. And it's going to be qualifying, mixed conditions, and a dry race. So it looks as though, well, by the time we get to Q3, well, I doubt we'll be in there, but that's where the rain will come. So we can pretty much set up for a dry weekend. And yeah, well, I'll see you after free practice for qualifying one. Okay, here we go. It is time for qualifying now. We do have a new rival. It is Esteban Ocon. It was him, Stroll, Ricardo, or somebody else, or Alonso, I think. So we sort of went for the softest one because I don't think we're going to be able to beat an Alpine, certainly not regularly anyway. And free practice was a struggle, to be honest. We're going to do well to get out of Q1, but let's go see how we go. Alright, here we go. Now, when I say it's going to be a struggle to get out of Q1, that's because free practice we were sort of 17th, 18th, 16th maybe. Pick out break point in turn 1 here. So yeah, we're not really in a position, that's too wide. We're in a position where we're not expected to go out. Now, the reason for that, it's not so much this first sector where the car was relatively competitive. It's sectors 2 and 3, and I'll point it out when we start to get into those sectors. That's not great. So sort of from here, we're just so far off the top cars, and I think it's just our car kind of feels heavy. Like I sort of was trying to follow a Mercedes through this bit. It didn't last long, as you can imagine. And they just seem to be able to change direction a lot quicker than what we could. And our car, it feels like we have understeer. And I've tried to tune it out. And this is not a great lap, if I'm completely honest. But it just seems like nothing I do is fixing the problem. So I think it might just be our car is not necessarily suited, and the driver as well, to the sort of twists and turns of the Hungaroring. This has been a very, very scruffy lap, as all my laps tend to be. We've got a Ferrari right up our backsides. And let's see how that goes for a first attempt. An 18.7 is not that far off my best. Alright, so here we go for a second crack.
We may see some rain.
At Q1.
15 minutes.
I may not talk too much, just laugh at my facial expressions so I go into deep concentration. Because this track, there's not much time to think, if I'm honest. It comes at you very, very quickly. Get on the gas, there we go, that's better, a little bit too quick on the comeback there, but we're already a quarter of a second up, this is better. Ah, you I rode the curb. We'll abandon this one. Alright, here we go, we'll go and have another crack at this. We straddled the curb so I couldn't turn in, and that's what happened there, but we've recharged the batteries, and let's go again. And again, I probably won't be talking too much. Still up a little bit. Got on the gas a little bit too early there, didn't I? But we just about got away with that. Alright, let's see if we can take this corner finally properly. There we go, that's better. I was actually a little bit too conservative. We are a long, long way up on our best. Now this is the part of the track. Oh, I've overcooked it. That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad at all. Oh, I straddled the curve again. Alright, here we go. We've got new set of tyres on. It's our final crack, and you can see the rain that is supposed to come in is on its way. We are currently dead last, so this needs to work. This needs to be our lap. Alright, so far so good. Half a second up. Oh, purple first sector and I stuffed it. So one for old time's sake. Alright, there we go. Sorry, I won't usually do flashbacks in qualifying, but I'm frustrating myself. Right, back on the gas. Okay, so far so good. It's going to feel like a hollow lap now because I did that flashback, but still. Oh, that was some sliding. Checkered flag is out. A bit of oversteer there in the middle of the corner. Alright, is this going to be good enough? It'll be hollow if it is, but is it good enough? So, it is good enough. I'm sorry, I feel like I've cheated. Look at that, there's nothing in it between ourselves and Mick Schumacher. We can still, therefore, out-qualify Ocon, but he's half a second ahead of us, and we've used up 3 sets of soft tyres to get that far. So it's going to be a struggle from here, but yeah, let's go to Q2, but I'm not proud of myself. Alright, so the rain has arrived for Q2. Now, I'm just finishing off a first lap, which was scruffy, not great, as I sort of learnt get some sort of idea where we can brake and whatnot. So yeah, we'll have at least a delta to compare that to, but it wasn't a good lap. It started off okay, so if we're a little bit behind here, that's not too bad. But later on in the lap, you'll see that it did go downhill quite quickly for us. And we'll see if, you know, in the dry, 16th was as good as we were ever going to do.
There's only one lap of fuel
now we'll
remaining.
see if in the wet, it kind of works to our favour perhaps, or is it just make us a little bit worse?
Okay, we're currently in the drop zone. We need you to move up into the...
Are you okay? That was a nasty hit. Turn the engine off and wait for the marshals.
Well, I can't do 2 flashbacks in a qualifying, can I? So that's us done. 16th is, it's really the maximum we deserve with what I did in Q1. But there we go. Binned in qualifying yet again. So we are out-qualified by Ocon. There goes that sponsorship payment. But the race is supposed to be dry. It's going to be a tough one for us, I'm not going to lie to you. So let's get to the race.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday puts him on pole, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Perez, Carlos Sainz and Verstappen, Norris, Ricciardo, Vettel and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Raikkonen, Oldtimer, Mick Schumacher and Artem Markelov, Russell, Mazepin, Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Alright, it's business time. The hoodie's come off. And, well, let's go. Markelov's done okay, hasn't he? He's qualified just behind us. We have Ocon, of course, our rival, just ahead of us. Softs to mediums. That looks... Do we go the other way? Do we go the other way? Or... The thing is that I don't think we're good enough as is. So I think we do go the other way. And hope we can come in at the end, last, 5 laps, and maybe get some free air. I am better with free air, just kind of so I don't have to worry about other cars and racing people, all the things that I should be good at. So yeah, I think we go with this, and we can probably take a little bit of fuel out as well, can't we? We don't need that much. And yeah, so we're going to be slow at the start. Hopefully we'll come home strong. Alright, here we go, lights counting down. Now, I wasn't sure, I have a feeling that this track might be a little bit damp. We've got... What a start. A very decent start there, you can see I was quite pleased with that. Alright, don't do a BOTTAS. Don't do a BOTTAS. And you can see it looks as though there's wheel marks on the track. Dear, I have no grip whatsoever. Absolutely no grip whatsoever. Could not steer the car, it was terrible, terrible. Which makes me think it was wet. It is raining, look at that. Is it? I'm sure it's raining. We can see it looks like there's little bits of spray coming up the back of the cars, but Giovinazzi up the inside. Whatever it's doing, I have no grip. This was a mistake. Why are we not on the soft tyres? Yeah, you can see already we go back to last. Everybody else on the softs, and, well, I am obviously regretting it at this point as they drive off into the distance. But you can see there's wheel tracks. It looks to me as though it's damp, but nobody's on intermediates. But this could be a very long race. This is just going to be a case of do my own race and see where it brings us out at the end, I think. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely spray, isn't there? So we're on the wrong tyre. I mean, it's probably not dry enough.
Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
So if that rain does arrive, hopefully it'll be after they've made their first pit stops, and this might come back to us yet. So we skip ahead to lap 7, where the soft runners are now coming into the pits. Now, I'm obviously hoping at this point that what's going to happen is the rain's going to come before we make our stop, but after theirs. Hello, Esteban. We got our new rival in front of us there, and maybe we find ourselves, what are we in now, P15? Maybe this could be a legitimate P15 if everybody else has to end up two-stopping. But you can see the track, it's definitely drier now than it was at the start. The grip has come back to us a little bit, but there's still, look at that, this track still does look a little damp, doesn't it? So it's a weird race, but it might, as I said, it might come back to us now. We're all on the same tyres. Some of them are on hards as well, but there's definitely spray. It's just a greasy track, isn't it? But you can see Ocon, he is driving away from us a little bit. He's already, 2 seconds up the road in a lap, so that's not ideal. It suggests that we're not quick enough today.
We're expecting some rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes.
So there we go. If the heavens can open, it could still perhaps come back to us a little bit this race. But we're going to need the rain, and we're going to need it very, very soon. So we come back lap 9, a couple of laps.
Approaching the pit window, you'll be on the softs. Gap to teammate behind is 4.9 seconds.
You can see we've got Kimi Räikkönen behind us. We are coming up to our pit stop. And, yeah, you can see Esteban Ocon has driven 5 seconds up the road. So even if it was to rain, you'll notice it hasn't opened up the heavens yet. So we're running out of time for it to happen before our pit stop.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
Oh no, push for a safety car. That would really help us. There's debris everywhere, safety car. If we get a safety car, get a free pit stop, and then have the heavens open. It could, is it? I mean, you can tell, I mean, we're praying for rain, we're praying for safety cars. It's not out there. You can see, still lacking grip. You can see the wheel marks there as well. Kimi Räikkönen, I believe he's on a hard tyre as well, yeah. And he's just quicker than us, although he's probably on, well, he will be on fresh hards as opposed to our worn mediums, but just a general lack of grip even for us this race, and Alfa Romeo who is below us in the development race. So that suggests to me it's maybe not the car, it is maybe the person behind the wheel that's the problem here.
Our gap to the car in front is 6.5 seconds. So
that's Ocon in the space of what? Was it lap 8 or 9 he came out of the pit, so he's going away from us at over a second a lap. So we're not going to be beating Ocon on this day. Even if it was to rain now, he still has a big enough gap to be able to come in and make the stop. So it's just a case of trying to keep these cars behind us, hope for the best. And, you know, a safety car, it rains, it could all turn around very quickly, but it's looking as though it's going to be a long last for us today, doesn't it? Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have the thought process of having a gamble and seeing if inters would work and the rain comes. It looks as though we're going to be a long last no matter what we do here, but we'll put on the softs and see if we can set a fastest lap or something, have a little bit of fun. Oh, we've got to change the nose as well. Well, that maybe explains why we were a little bit slow there.
Go now.
But there we go, long last, soft tyres, 5 laps to go, let's have some fun. No idea when we damaged the wing. I do wonder if somewhere at the start maybe we damaged the wing, and perhaps as I reached for my excuse book, that's why we were so slow that first stint. Because they did drive away from us at quite the rate of knots. But again, the rain still hasn't come. I don't know what the engineer was talking about. It's still just greasy conditions, but not actually wet yet. So it doesn't really matter what happens now. And there's a friggin' raindrop on my visor. Unbelievable. And we just saw a little bit of rain on the camera there as well. So is it going to come a little bit too late for us?
Come on, mate, you can do it. It's been a tough race, but I know you're capable of getting more out of that car today. Dig deep. Give us the best of your talent.
But you know what, I think I have been, mate. You've seen the best of my talent, and that's the problem. But we're on the fastest, the freshest tyres. And we skip ahead to 2 laps to go. You can see we are catching Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Giovinazzi. The gap is, 2 seconds to Antonio Giovinazzi. He is being held up, it looks like, by Latifi. Still just greasy, spitting rain, not really enough for any sort of wet tyre, but again, there on you can see Latifi on a hard, Giovinazzi on a medium. And we have been catching them at over 2 seconds a lap. So we are much, much quicker than them. As I just take liberties with the track limits there. The question is, as the great Murray Walker would say, catching is one thing, passing is another. And on the Hungaro ring at Budapest, it's a little bit deep into the corner there, trying desperately to not come last in this race. Yeah, I mean, catching's one thing, passing's another, and passing at this track is incredibly difficult, but we seem to be catching them at such a speed that if we were to get to the back of them, you would fancy us to be able to get past. But coming up to the last lap, that means this will be the last time down the front straight, a chance to open the DRS, get on the overtake button. There you can see we've got, 17%, 18, 20% left. And try and get straight in the exit, get as good an exit as possible, and here we go, DRS opened.
This is your final lap of the race.
On the button, where do we go? Giovinazzi's defending from us, Latifi's there, we can't really lunge down the outside, we try and take a nice wide line, get on the gas as early as possible, but it hasn't really worked, and in fact, we've lost time through that corner. Giovinazzi, can we sneak around the outside? No, that's not going to work. Charles Leclerc has won for Ferrari. Excellent exit out of there. Difficult to overtake here without killing yourself on the outside. A little bit wide. Oh, it's not the best. It's not the best. Can we get a good exit out of here? Straight in the exit. Get on the gas. We've got a little bit of overtake button. We get on the overtake button. It's going to be a lunge. Are we going to get there? We've got our nose down the inside. We take the racing line, and that is Charles Leclerc. No, it's not. It's Antonio Giovinazzi overtaken as we take out the braking marker on the outside there. Another look at it. Not the best angle. But now can we chase down Latifi in, probably about a third of a lap that is left. He was very, very slow. You can see on the button again, there's no point having battery left when we cross the finish line. Down this, it's sort of a straight, isn't it? Late on the brakes. Oh, look at that, we're catching him. We're almost in a position to pounce. Can we get a good run out of this corner? We've got a little bit of overtake left. Can we get on the button? We are on the button. We launch to the outside. Can we get a straighter exit? Can we get a straighter exit? We're getting good overtake speed down the outside. Oh, what an overtake! Gotcha! What a last corner that is. I don't think it was all 4 wheels off the track. I'm fairly certain we kept a wheel on there just about. I don't think that would stand in real life.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
But there we go.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix. And they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
How about that for a last lap? Did you see my overtakes? Last corner. Denny Rick! Did you see my overtakes? Watch the replay. They're good. Yeah. Max, did you see my overtakes? I know I was in the race. Yeah. Hamilton. So there we go, a surprise winner in Charles Leclerc. And what about that last lap? That was, for me, almost worth the preceding. What was it, 20-odd minutes? 24 minutes for us, probably. But we can see the results there. Unfortunately for us, Ocon did beat us, and did beat us quite comfortably in the end. But I think if you look at the fastest laps, we did a 1:18.5 first or second full lap out of the pits. Now, 1:18.5 in terms of ranking fastest laps actually has us up there in 10th. Which makes me wonder if I did make a mistake starting on the medium tyre and perhaps it may have been more smart to start on the soft tyre and just do what everybody else did, given that we had the 10th fastest lap. But then again, if we'd had soft tyres at the start, heavier fuel, we probably wouldn't have gone that quick. But yeah, it just didn't quite work out. If the rain had got there a little bit sooner, there's oh if, buts, and maybes. But ultimately, we didn't come last, but Markelov did beat us, so not a massive success there. Quick look at the standings, and we can see we're still there in 12th, obviously. Fernando Alonso pulls another point closest to us. He will beat us, I would say, over the course of the season, but that's completely deserved. And the constructor standings, again, Alfa Romeo, Hassan Williams have nothing. That puts us in 8th, only 2 points back of AlphaTauri and Alpine, so we can sort of get one more decent result this season. It'll really put the pressure on those two teams. Maybe we could get 6th. I mean, we've got to aim for that, don't we? But I think that's maybe a little bit too much. But yeah, tough one for that one, us. I don't know if it was, like I say, if it was just me, if it was the track, if it was the car. Well, it's not the track, it's either me or the car, isn't it? Maybe it's one of those things that when we come back next season, I can sort of tune the setup a little bit more. I felt like we had a little bit, I don't know if it's understeer or we weren't agile enough. I don't know if that's the heavy car, if it's the setup I haven't done correctly, but we'll figure it all out for next season, hopefully. But guys, that'll do it for today. If you have enjoyed that, especially the last lap, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time after the Formula 1 summer break for the Belgian Grand Prix. Take care.